I can speak now? Okay, thanks. Hello. My name is Neil Bhoopalam. I've got a few questions to answer. Some of my friends have sent me questions and I'm going to try and be as crisp and prompt as possible. So here we go. The first
You're
one.
someone who has acted across theatre, film, and digital OTT platforms and shows and series and television.
True.
So, you're one person who's really kind of traversed all the four mediums. So my question really is that how different is the process for you as an actor across the different mediums? Is it very similar? Is it by and large the same? Or what are things that are specific to each medium? If you could elaborate on your process on that, that would be lovely.
Amrit, the truth is that I am pretty desperate as an actor and I want as much work as possible to keep me occupied. Yes, there is a slight difference in each medium that I've noticed. Theatre, I bank a lot on the practice of 30-40 days rehearsals and that sort of preparation to drop it and try and seem absolutely natural. For a film, I need something to marinate. We work together with the director, the script, the story, the world created. And for an OTT, I've realized I'm focusing a lot on the improv sort of teachings, and basically that day and whatever little screen time you get, how much you can maximize it. So these are the three processes I have with each medium. So that's one question. Next question. Akarsh.
Theatre work that I've seen, you have a very wide range of material that you worked with. You worked with out and out comedy, you worked with some really dark pieces, you worked with some absurd stuff, you've done physical stuff. Your theatre range for someone who's comes across as casual as you is quite magnificent. So I wanted to know, considering that there's no kind of pattern in those plays that you've done, like what is the process, if any, of selecting the work that you do? Is there a process firstly, and if so, what is it?
Akarsh, yes, there is a process which is that of trust. I didn't grow up with many friends, so my theatre friends are my family, and I trust them with my life. And most of the directors and writers that I've worked with, I like them. I think their view of the world is fantastic. They know things much more than I do. And if a topic interests them, if a story interests them, I'd be like, yeah, I want to be part of it. So that is pretty much my process. It's more of a trusting my intuition and just going with the flow. So that's what it is. Next question.
The one question that really came up to me is hunger, and I've never asked you this. You're very hungry during a rehearsal. You're very hungry just before a show. You're hungry during the show as well, and it has always fascinated me as to how you can be hungry and you can be acting and you can be playing a character and doing all these things at the same time. I don't want to go into the incidents of how you have satisfied your hunger.
I remember an incident.
Before a show, during a show, and after the show. But I think that will probably be part of the answer. But I do want to ask you, Mr. Neil Bhoopalam, why are you so hungry?
Namit Das, of all the questions, this one is my favorite question, and it doesn't come as a surprise. Yes, Namit, my body is the instrument, and through that I exist in the world and I try and entertain people when I can, just like you. And it needs fuel, hence being hungry all the time. But I do remember an incident, since you said you didn't remember a particular incident. There was a time when we were doing Hamlet in the UK. It was London. Everything shuts very early over there. So after the show, there was no food. So Namit and I would go, of course, and get a sandwich before the show, eat a bit pre-show and after the show. And once I came back to the green room after the show, my half sandwich was missing. And the only person at the scene of the crime, in the green room, was Namit Das. Namit, I know you ate that sandwich. Next question.
What keeps bringing you back? Like, what is it about the theatre that keeps drawing you back to it and wanting to challenge yourself time and time again and be so nerve-wracking and in a really weird way fighting the odds? What brings you back? What makes it exciting for you?
Kwasar, yes, I'm a bit addicted to the theatre. The practice keeps me sane. It works as therapy for me. I love being extremely nervous and feeling that buzz and hoping to go on stage and letting it sort of ride and being successful at that. And every time I do that, I feel a little more confident. So that's why I keep coming back. I don't think I'll go. I don't think I'll leave it. So it's that. I think the theatre really is my temple when it comes to understanding a bit about the world and understanding a fair amount of myself and being able to hack this reality. That's why I keep coming back. Next question.
I wanted to ask you, is that how has you think the fatherhood has impacted you as an artist, as an actor, as a theatre practitioner? Have you felt a visible change in you, the way you approach your work now? Say your script or the stories that you tell. Has it influenced you to look or sense or feel or envision things differently as an artist now?
Mr. Vinay Pathak, you know the answer to this one better than I do, and you'd be able to articulate it better than I do. Fateh now is 3 years old. 100%. I wouldn't even be able to struggle with trying to describe the different things that makes this relationship that you're talking about, being a father, and how it sort of soaks into your reality and into your work. But I'd say in a nutshell, I understand human behavior much more now thanks to being a father. I interact with people in a manner which I would if I were talking to my child, because I think that is the most loving way you can approach this world. And yes, everything. It sort of gives you these goggles or like a tunnel vision, or not tunnel vision, but it gives you perspective which you wouldn't have, which I wouldn't have had I not been a father. So it's magnificent, and it is an irreversible change which happens, and I'm extremely thankful for that. Next question.
You know, Neil, we all tried really hard to live in 2020 because that's the year we're in. But you, for some reason, have a fascination to inhabit 1875, which would explain your reluctance to embrace technology and modernity. Why do you think that is, Neil? Why?
1875, Menin, that's a bit much. I feel 1990 is just about apt. Time is relative. We really don't know what day and age we're living in unless we, check somewhere or you pull it out from your memory. I also think it's kind of nice that you can do that. You can sort of decide for yourself which decade you're living in. And with regards to the technology, it just gets the better of me. It's an addiction I can live without. So yeah, that's why. Next question.
I love Fateh. Can I marry him?
Isabani? Of course. You and Fateh must get married, and we'll get y'all married in Kamshet, and then we can all live happily ever after over there forever and ever. It's a beautiful one. I'll follow up with you in about 20 years. Next question.
So my question to you, Neil, is what is your view and how do you approach the actor-director relationship? I know that it's different with different directors, obviously, but what is your base view of the role of an actor and the role of a director and how that relationship works?
Nadir Khan. The first one, actor-director relationship. Yes, each director is different, as you said, and thereby the process would be slightly tweaked. My director is the captain of the ship, and whatever my director says is the gospel truth. My job and my duty as an actor is to present things, to bring to the table as many things as I can. Sometimes things get shot down, but it's important not to sulk and go into your shell and be like, okay, you know what, I'm never going to pitch anything again. It's important to get over that. All right, next question.
I don't see you all that much in films or in shows, or maybe I'm not catching the right ones. Is it because, and I think we had some kind of conversation like this when we were doing 24, I know you prefer theatre, but what is it really that you prefer in theatre that you don't find in film or in shows? And or is it that you just are a little more choosy with the films you pick?
Mr. Renzel de Silva. What an awesome question. Yes, we did chat about this, and it took me some time to figure it out, but I figured it out. What I thoroughly enjoy about the stage is the kind of characters that one gets to play. I find those characters far more interesting than the camera work or the other work that I've gotten, because most of the camera work that I've gotten is largely because I look the part, and with stage you sort of become the part. So I think it's because I find the stage work far more gratifying, because I get much more than I expected. With a film, I have to come, do my job, and leave, because it's not really in my hands. Eventually, the success of a film is because of so many factors: how it's edited, how the music is put, obviously how it's directed. But I feel there's a little more stake. I feel like I'm a bit of a shareholder when it comes to the stage, and that's what it is, to be able to be bombastic and dynamic. I only get that opportunity on stage, at least so far. But yes, that's what it is. Thank you. Next question.
Hey Nilo. So my question for you today is to do with spontaneity and intuition, two things that you have in abundance and two things that I think every actor should have. When do you actually let yourself find those things and use those things in your process in preparing for a part? And how is that different for you in theatre and on screen?
I totally bank on my intuition, trying to be spontaneous. But now there is, like, you have to decide, or once you're there and your director says during a rehearsal process, okay, for today you can just play. You're free to run around as much as possible in this world. So that's how I try and be spontaneous, and it also sort of somewhat helps me prepare myself for the show, because we really don't know how things are going to go no matter how much you practice it on show day. But that's kind of awesome. And when it comes to being on set for a shoot, I do try and be sharp and think on my feet, because there's always something you can add based on what you have around you. Props, the shoes that you're going to wear for a shoot that they have given you, either one day before or the day of the shoot. So I think over there it's a fair amount of alertness to be spontaneous. But thank you. Next question.
Neil Bhoopalam, Anu Menon this side, very nice to meet you. My first question to you is an acting one, which is with regards to a play. when you get on stage as an actor, how much would you say is instinct and how much is your pre-preparation from your rehearsal process? Also, with regards to a character, is there anything specific you do to un-Neilify yourself when you're playing him?
Menin, to un-Neilify myself, yeah, I have to be told that my director needs to say, "Acha, now throw out the clown version of Neil," or "This is Neil I know," or "This is BJ Neil." So, I try and... but I also feel, now that we are talking about it, I feel it's my duty to kind of show off the different things that I could do. And whatever's not liked is cancelled at the time. And with regards to the process, during a show, I would say at least 80% is instinct and 20% I bank on the practice, because I'm pretty confident. I also like to be show ready possibly 2 nights or 3 nights prior to show, because it's fairly embarrassing to be on stage and try and have to think about what my next line is, and people have seen me do that. So yeah, 80% instinct and 20% relying on whatever's absorbed in me through the practice of rehearsals. That's how I hack a show. Moving on to the next question.
I was just curious, how is it that you think of giving back to the field, to your art form, to your community, whatever you call it? Do you think about it? And if you do, I'd be really excited to know, as a performer, as an actor, how is it that you feel you could actively give back?
Hey, Sujay Saple. What a sweet, serious type of question, actually. I have thought about it. I was like, should I sort of keep aside something where we can produce a play of this, that, the run-of-the-mill things. But then I realized the best way to contribute is by contributing by your time. I enjoy, and theatre is my passion. I'm not going to leave it. So I feel if I keep practicing, that is the way I can take from it and contribute. And also, about 5 years ago, I started this 20 to 30 year long SIP, where every month I put 1,000 away. That's the price of 2 tickets. So that when I'm really old, I'll probably extend the SIP. Then I can fund myself. So the practicing artist now can take care of the artist that is going to retire. At least that's the plan. Next question.
Okay, Neelu, tell us, what is that one value of your life that you would love to impart to Fateh? And what is that one thing about you which you will definitely keep him away from?
Then you have a tooth rabbit, and you remember the PJ Masks puzzle.
Isa Bani. Yes, I love PJ Masks. I've watched the show recently, like about 2 weeks ago. I know what it is, and the next time we meet, I'm going to try and get some PJ Masks puzzles. Isa Bani. And with regards to answering your father's question, Guruji, it's quite, how do I say this? What I'd like to share with Fateh is what I get from my mum, which is just loving and trusting mankind in general. And what I'd like to keep him away from is actually the underconfident quota that I have in me. Because that, I feel, which I need to keep checking myself with, if it gets the better of me, it could be quite debilitating and dangerous. So I'd like to safeguard him from understanding not to doubt yourself too much. And if you do, it's okay. Next question.
My question for you is, what was your most memorable experience of your time doing improv with us? And I'm not talking about some of the wine drinking after corporate shows, which I know you liked. But on stage, in rehearsal, what did you enjoy the most? And related to that, is there anything of the improv experience or that art form that you miss and you feel that perhaps you don't get that aspect in regular theatre?
Mukul Chadda. There was one particular improv show that we had at the Lower Parel Zenzi during a monsoon a few years ago, and Kaniz was also part of that, and it was just really funny. We moved from one scene to the other, and I was doing some of the talky bits in one scene, and then she steps on stage, and we had sort of paused, and she's like, "Is this the wax museum?" And then I just stayed quiet because she's already prompted me as to where it was. Really minor scene transition, but that stayed with me like for a while. I think that was very interesting. And yes, Improv Comedy Mumbai, Aadyam Dow, the sort of training that we had, teachings that we had then, has been, it's like just trusting the flow much more. It helped me polish that up, which I didn't quite get in theatre, because that's about practicing the same punch over and over again, and then when you do have to, during show time, you give a knockout punch. But with improv, you try and rehearse all the possibilities that could be the outcome, and then during show time, pick one, or you may not pick any of them and have to pick and execute something else. So that gives you the confidence that improv has, which no other practicing art form gives me. Next question.
Hi Neil, tell us about your most memorable travel experience. Something that really transformed you. Maybe it changed the way you look at the world or look at yourself. It could be with a theatre troupe, or with a film crew, or even with family. Some place in this world that you went to that changed you. Thank you.
Arunachal Pradesh. Rachel, it was Arunachal Pradesh. Yes, every travel adds value to you and gives you some perspective. But the show, the trip that we had in Arunachal Pradesh, there were four of us, Nandini, me, and a couple of our friends who were photographers, and we had to do this walk, basically get away from civilization as we know it, no electricity. 10 days, pitch tents, go to sleep, wake up the next day, arrive at the next hamlet before dark, and one night we got there once it got dark, and I really freaked out. But what it taught me was, I remembered exactly how many almonds I had in my bag, how many guavas, how much water was there in my bottle, because you can only fill up water from a stream. And living like that made me understand that this urban jungle is a cakewalk. I mean, it just seemed too easy. So that was a huge learning for me. And yeah, urban jungle, piece of cake, Next question.
As a performer, when you get stuck with a specific character or a specific scene, what do? What are your go-to hacks? How do you deal with that?
Sheena Khalid, I get down on my knees and beg my director to point me in the right direction. But what I do before I do that is try and see the sort of world that the play was written in, the story was written, or what the character was about. If I understand socio-economic background, if I understand the kind of music that was made during that time when the story was written, it makes me understand things much more. And sometimes I need to just give it a bit of a break, not think about it, toy with the idea, and invariably something in front of me will give me the answer as to how to play something, or how things just sort of fall into place. But now that we're chatting about it, I think those are active modes. Like, I have to go out, like this evening I need to find the answer to this roadblock, and it sort of happens. So thank you for the question. Next question.
So my question is this, Neil. What is it that
has kept you in the game? Meaning, what is it that challenges you play after play? What is it that you are truly fearful about? Because I know that you are an actor who is very proud of his craft. Somebody who I know wants to go that extra bit, because you're an extra actor, man. You're like, you got the X factor.
RDC, bro. The X Factor. How cool, yeah. Thank you. I'd like to steal from a line of yours. I would like to hold on to the X Factor and not become the EX Factor by being a performer who is predictable. And I feel that is one of my fears. A couple of things. A is being predictable, and people are like, yeah, man, there's not like, yeah, there's the same kind of Neil performing all the time. And the other one is being consumed by fear. I think as time goes on, you get a little more conscious, or at least I have become a little more conscious. You don't want to make a complete fool of yourself, where in your 20s you didn't really care about that. So I don't want to be consumed by fear 15, 20 years down the line and be like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough to be able to step on stage. So I need to keep practicing, and in order to do that, I have to keep just being able to practice, and then I think I should be safe. Thank you. Next question.
When you have to play a character that's urban or might exist in the same ecosystem as you, what are your fears or challenges while playing a character like that? Do tell us. Also, I love you and I miss you. Bye.
I love you too, Shikha. What are the fears? Yeah, there again, Shikha, it would be like, you know, being predictable or playing the same sort of urban character in one story and then having to do the same in the other story, only with a, you know, costume. One movie you're wearing checked shirts and the other one you're wearing printed t-shirts. So, but what I sort of do is borrow from, because urban is various kinds of urban, right? You've got Bombay urban, Delhi, Bangalore urban, and in there's some sameness, even Dubai urban and Singapore as well. There's some, everything same but different. And then I try and borrow what I can, or some people I've met. I'm like, okay, this person seems like a cool person and they seem to, you know, have a good sense of humor, make their friends laugh. Let's just borrow something from them. So yeah, that's how it is. You want to come say hi, Fateh? Come here, we're recording, okay? Just come here, show your face. Is he in frame? Come here, get up, man. That's it. You want to take the mic? We're gonna scram. Now please go away. I gotta record the rest of.
What are you
Is he in frame? Okay. Go stand over there and see it. Go stand over there and see it. Okay, I've got a few more questions left.
I want to do this.
I got.
Papa, I was using the light.
Maybe this is my last question. This is my last question. You want to come and help me answer this? Come here. Yeah, Pooja Mas is right here.
Hi Neil, I want to know what gives you this crazy imagination to improvise, that you don't let go of any possible moment to play.
That's Pooja, man. Now don't ask me who is this on camera. Pooji, what gives me that crazy urge to improvise all the time?
Are you come, Papa?
I'll tell you. And cut.